What is going on, guys? Samuxplays here, and today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind lately. I've been seeing a lot of videos pop up that's just kind of, people are specifically content creators, or, they're saying that TFD is just too easy now, the game's going in a bad direction, there's no challenge anymore. After the release of Serena, a lot of people are done. And it's kind of split the community into two, where it's basically like you have one camp of people that are saying the game's totally fine, and you have another group of people that are saying, like, this isn't like old TFD, everything's a joke now, right? So there's a lot of drama in the community, especially with creators specifically. Recently we've had a lot of creators dip out, so like one of the bigger names would be Vash, right? He said that Serena was so OP that he's just done making content. You can go watch his video on it, but essentially what he says is that the game has just become so OP to the point to where it's like he feels like what he's doing doesn't matter anymore. And then you have some smaller creators. There was a video by Is Nasty where he basically says that he disliked the story. He thinks it's ridiculous that they're nerfing Inez, and then they release Serena, stuff like that, right? And then also we're gonna watch a video today released by Clyde, who's an OG, and he's also not happy with the state of the game. So there's kind of some drama going around. And I'm an OG as well. I've been playing this game since day one, and I've made quite a few videos on TFD now, and I've been pretty vocal about my complaints in previous videos, and usually when I say something that criticizes the game, people get very defensive, which is fair, right? It's like if TFD is like one of your favorite games and you've invested a lot of hours into it, and then someone's shit talking it, right? You're gonna try and your defense mechanism is gonna kick in, and you're gonna be like, no, but at the end of the day, guys, just understand that we all love TFD. Everybody that's still in the community as of right now, like, we all love the game. It has a very loyal fan base. The content creators that are still making content on the game, they like the game, right? If they were doing it just for views, they would have left a long time ago, after all the hype died down, right? So, but that being said, I do think that people are being kind of dramatic. I don't feel like season 2 episode 2 was that bad. I feel like people probably should have waited until season 3 to kind of start this process of being like, all right, I just give up on TFD, right? Now, there are definitely some issues with the game, which I'm going to go over in this video. We're also going to react to Clyde's video, so that's what we're going to be doing today. As I said, there's other videos, but we're going to do Clyde specifically because it's short and I don't want to make this a hour-long video. And then I'll kind of give my thoughts on it as he talks and I'm reacting to him, and then I'll kind of go over it at the end of kind of like what my opinion of TFD is, because as I said, I've been playing this game for a long time, and the game has changed so much from when it was first released, for better or for worse. And I just kind of wanted to talk about it just because I do want to see TFD succeed. I do want to see them do well. I do love the game. But that being said, I am on both sides of the argument, right? Because when the game first launched, for the first few months, I was no-lifing it. Like, I did like 800 hours in 3 months or something. Or like 700, something like that. Like an insane amount of hours worth. And then here in recent months I have been a very casual player, right? I'll log in, I'll do my dailies, I'll play for like an hour, and then I'll log out. So I'm kind of seeing both sides of the argument. One main thing that I'll say before I react to Clyde's video is that, so this is just from my perspective on it, like an OG who's been here since day one, they have made the game so much easier for casuals. Like, if you don't have a lot of time, right? Because this game used to be you had to invest a lot of grinding time to even make a little bit of progress. Whereas now you can play like 3, 4, 5 hours a week and you can make pretty good progress, right? You get like free event boosters. They nerfed void fragments multiple times. You basically don't even have to do those anymore. You get insane amounts of XP from like dungeons. You don't have to gold farm anymore. They give you gold for, you know, the Haley's mission thing or whatever. We now have a weapon core system, which just makes you extremely OP if you can clear Void Vessel, which they just nerfed Void Vessel again today, right? So all the content is becoming easier, and you're also able to unlock it quicker, because they're giving you all of these things to make your character stronger, as we saw with arcade tuning, which personally I love arcade tuning. Like, sure, it's like we're already OP, it's just going to make us more OP, but I like the idea of arcade tuning. Like, I love Paragon boards, we saw it in Diablo 2, and I love systems like that, so I actually love that. I hope they expand on that. I don't know if I'm in the minority on that, but yeah, I personally love it. I mean, my main issue with TFD is just the content, to be honest. Like, I feel like they do not branch out enough with their content. It is always the same thing. It is always, here is a new character, here is a new different variation of a dungeon, and then here's an ultimate weapon, and that's it, right? Like, it's the same thing every single time. I would like to see them branch out a little bit in terms of content and give us some open world areas. You know, give us some new events that's not just like a login bonus or whatever, right? Like, I want it to, I want TFD to feel more alive, not just queuing up from Albion to go into a dungeon, right? And then even if you go out in the open world, there's just like, you see a couple packs roaming, that's pretty much it, right? You just start the mission and it spawns pack. I don't know. I feel like they definitely could, they definitely could do, they could mix up the content for sure. Like, I feel like they need to do that, like, badly. Like, they cannot keep just releasing the same thing over and over and over each season. Now, again, it's not the exact same, but the premise is the same, right? New Descendant, new gun, new boss. So, they have added a lot of things that accumulate, so you feel like you have a lot more to do, like, daily when you log in. So it's kind of like a gacha game in that sense, right? I don't know if you guys have played gacha games before, but it's basically you log in, you do your dailies, you play for like an hour, you get your goodies, and then you log out, you wait till the next day, you do it again, right? That's kind of like where TFD is right now. But all that being said, I feel like episode 2, I feel like it's one of the best that we've gotten, no? Like, I know that power creep is a problem, and I know that people are just one-shotting bosses within a second, which, like, yeah, I mean, that's an issue, right? If you're one-shotting, like, the hardest boss in the game, then, you know, it's like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? You know, I don't think that's good for the game, but at the same time, like, when you play games like this, the goal is to build your character up and just feel extremely OP, right? But the problem is, I think in TFD, that we're so constricted to just the amount of content that we can do, because the game's only been out like 7 or 8 months, that, you know, it's just, there's not too much that you can do with your characters. The content is level up this character by doing this dungeon X amount of times, and then go kill this boss, right? Like, yeah, we just need some new stuff, and that's why I'm kind of waiting to give my, like, heavy criticisms until season 3, right? That is when I am expecting them to be like, hey guys, here is new stuff. If season 3 is just, here's a Descendant, here's a boss, and then here's a dungeon, that's probably going to be it for me, to be honest. Like, I mean, not that it's going to be it, like, I'm going to quit forever, but like, it's going to be it as far as, like, I don't think that's going to be enough to bring back players and retain the player base. Like, they have to mix it up, they have to innovate, they have to do different things. Sigma Sector was actually, I have a lot of fun with Sigma Sector. Now, will I have fun with it in 3 months, right? Because it's the same thing with Void Vessel. Void Vessel came out, I said, yeah, this is okay, right? It was okay. I didn't like it personally, just because the, like, bubbles, and then you had to use Voltia or other things. I don't like the bubbles, you know, like the defense bubbles where it's like, oh, they're immune to guns or they're immune to spells. I personally don't like that. I feel like that was just a band-aid to make sure that Freyna couldn't just go in there and whatever, right? I don't like that mechanic, if I'm being honest. Went and did it. I got Inez, I got Keelan, I got the dog, and then I never went back in there, right? I still have to go back in there to like farm and stuff, but it's not my favorite activity. Sigma Sector is cool though. I like that you're able to like go around. It's got like really good music, right? Like when I first entered it, I was like, this is awesome, man. This feels amazing. You're just flying around with Serena in the sky, because Serena's a lot of fun if you know learning how to like navigate with her and just like flying around everywhere and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, man. Serena's a lot of fun. I mean, the main problem is that just people are saying that she's like extremely broken, right? But let's be honest, if it wasn't Serena, people would be like killing the boss with like Galay in 5 seconds, right? Or Haley. Like, I mean, it's not just Serena that's the issue, even though, like, yeah, she is absolutely busted. But I mean, there's a lot of characters in this game that are just super busted. So, and then now, yeah, with arcade tuning, it's even more, you know, we're getting stronger and stronger. The content's getting easier and easier. So, and they're continuing to nerf the content. So as I said, dude, I understand where like, you know, casuals are coming from, as well as just like the tryhards, like the creators, right? I understand their perspective too, because it's like they want something to grind, they want a challenge so they can make cool content, they want to grind for more than like a couple hours a day, right? Like, I totally get it, but the thing is that TFD is not like the old TFD where you grind for 12 hours a day to make progress, right? It is a very, very casual game now that you can play just a little bit each week. And I'm not sure if that's what the devs are intending, but that's what it seems like to me. And I honestly, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, as I said, like, I've been on both sides, and I don't really care that much, to be honest. TFD gets boring for me, I just go play a different game, right? I'll wait till the new content comes out. You know, I'll play the new content for a couple weeks, and then I'm like, okay, like, TFD doesn't have to be your main game, and I feel like that's where a lot of these creators, they're wanting to just perma-spam TFD, and I just don't think that's feasible for a game that's 7 to 8 months in their life. So, like, there's not enough content in the game to just perma-play it, I feel like, especially since they made everything easier now. You know, you're finishing everything quickly, right? So anyways, that's just my thoughts on it. I personally liked episode 2. I'm still playing it a little bit, like, you know, I need to max out my Serena. I still haven't finished my arcade tuning on her. Apparently you can do it really, really quickly if you buy boosts, but I don't really buy boosts, so but anyways, I don't know. I've been having fun with it. I think people expected a little bit too much, as I said. Like, I think people should hold their criticisms until season 3, because that is going to be the real indicator of where they want to go for the game, right? I do think it is weird that they are nerfing Inez, but then they release Serena. I feel like the devs don't really know what they want to do in terms of balance, but, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm willing to give TFD a chance, right? I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to wait it out till season 3 and just enjoy it for what it is for right now, right? Yeah, the characters are really OP. Yeah, the bosses are a joke. But, you know, it is what it is. I still think it's fun to hop on every now and then and just blow stuff up, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, that's my opinion on it. I'm still gonna play. As I said, I am no longer a sweat. I don't play this game 12 hours a day anymore. I maybe play it for like an hour or 2 a day. And then if I like am really into like, oh, I really want to make a cool build, then I'll probably play for like 3, 4, 5 hours if I'm feeling really, really like, oh, I want to grind and discover a new build today or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think people should just enjoy it for what it is. Wait till season 3, see if they actually give us like end game content and not just the same old, same old. And I'm sure that most of the creators that are leaving or saying that they're done with the game, that's probably what they'll end up doing, right? If season 3 looks really good, they'll come back. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, right? Anyways, that's my take on it. I think, I liked arcade tuning. I like the storyline. Apparently a lot of people said they didn't like, the storyline. I personally liked it. You know, arcade tuning, as I said, I think it's a big W. Is the game too easy? Yeah, I mean, it is. There's no challenge in the game anymore. Leveling up takes like a few hours. You can fully max a character if you like just use event boosters and then external components to boost your XP, and then just go spam special operations. You literally max a character in a few hours, and you can pretty much just clear all content in the game, right? Like if I were to start a fresh account right now, all I would have to do is go unlock Serena, right? Or like Glay, build up a weapon, and I could clear all content in the game, right? And like you guys know what I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like people should just enjoy it for what it is, have fun with the new content. Just if you feel like it's too easy or whatever and you're just bored, go play something else, man. So that's my take on it. I'm still going to be playing TFD. I'm still going to be enjoying it for what it is. I hope Season 3 does give us a little bit of more fresh content and not just a dungeon that we zone into with a new Descendant. But, regardless, I'll still play it even if that is the case, because I really like the devs in this game, and I think the characters are hot, and, I want to support games like that, because I think that in recent times, it's just like, especially in Western games, it's just like we're trying to push this narrative of, oh, here's ugly characters, and then nobody buys it, and people are like, oh, they freak out, right? It's like people want attractive characters in their games. I know I do. When I play games, it's like a fantasy, right? I don't want ugly characters in my games. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the bikinis or jiggle physics, right? Like none of that. I think that's going to bring them the most revenue. I think they should keep doing that. I enjoyed it, right? I enjoyed Season 2. I do want to react to Clyde's video on it. So we're going to go ahead and do that and go ahead and pull it up here. So Clyde, what were the devs thinking? RIP. We're going to go ahead and watch this video, and then I am going to react to it, and then kind of give my thoughts on what he has to say. And then, that'll be the video. We'll call it a day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the talk has got to happen. Now, a lot of people don't like when we discuss the certain things about the game, saying it's too easy and this shouldn't be in the game and this shouldn't be in the game. Well, someone's got to say it, okay? We can't fake it no more. You're sitting here saying that, hey, you don't need to run all these meta builds. You can play the game how you want. That is true, but it's just certain things shouldn't exist just because of what the devs have previously said. It goes back to the Freyna issue. People have said, oh, Freyna's too strong, she's too boring, people are just going in these activities and spreading poison everywhere, they're making my game crash because I can't see. The devs said, hey, we'll tune Freyna. So the devs knew that certain stuff was too strong in the game, and they completely ignored it because here comes an S. An S loads into the game and just dominates the newest boss. She's one of the best AoE clearers, simply because people were sick of playing Bunny, or they just wanted to try out something new. And
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, right, like Inez came out and she basically could just one-shot entire screens before they even loaded in, right? But I don't know. I mean, I had fun with Ines. I really don't think it's that big of a deal if you're able to just like, wreck a 400% dungeon, right? You can do it with Freyna, Inez, Bunny even, and people are saying Bunny needs a buff now. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Well, what I think needs to happen is like the really in-game, late-game content, you shouldn't be able to one-shot everything, right? But for like 400% dungeons or whatever, I don't think it's that big of a deal to be able to just like run through it, right? Also, I did clear the last boss when Inez came out. Yeah, it was easy, but you still had to like, make your range between the boss and like make sure you don't get hit and like hop out. Like there was some skill expression there when you were fighting the boss, right? If you were playing it with Inez, you basically just did the like boomerang build where you were spamming her one while you were staying like in the perfect amount of range. So there was skill expression there. So I don't think it was like that big of an issue. I think the biggest issue is people, I guess I can't relate too much because I don't play in public lobbies too much. I always go solo. But I guess people who are playing like not Descendants that like run really fast or whatever, they're in 400% dungeons and they basically don't get to play the game, right? It's basically what we saw with Freyna. Me personally, if that happens and it irritates me, I just go play solo. But Yeah, I've kind of never understood the whole argument of, don't queue up for 400% dungeon in public lobbies if you're gonna play like Freyna or Inez or whatever. Like, I feel like that argument is like so stupid because like using that logic, it's like you can just go queue up solo. Like, you don't get to decide like what other players get to play. Like they're, you know what I mean, like they're there to finish the run as fast as possible. Now that being said, I understand that if you're like on a off meta Descendant and you feel like you're not able to play, like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I totally understand. But at the same time, it's just kind of like what it is, right? So there's always going to be like fast AoE farmers in this game, and I don't think that'll ever change. Even if you nerf Inez, even if you nerf Freyna, people would just do it with Bunny, right? So yeah, telling them to go play solo when you yourself could just go play solo just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's a dumb argument.
I love Ines. I think, her ability to clear ads and, throw her abilities around and just spawn trap enemies is great. But again, it just made the game to where it's just, wow, you invest in the character, call it a day. But before we even mention Serena, let's go back to OG days where your reactor, like your Lepic, if you didn't have skill critical hit damage in Colossus, you might not be using one ult to kill a boss. You had to spec into MP in your components, so you had to have a decent Slayer set. Now the game is just totally changed. It's you run a reactor that doesn't even matter to your character. Serena doesn't even need a reactor. Even Glay, you don't even need a reactor for Glay. You're
Yeah, I mean, that's because they're gun users, so reactors, just in case anyone was wondering, I'm not saying Clyde doesn't know this, but gun users don't need a reactor because they're not benefiting from their skills or whatever. That's why he's saying like, oh, you don't even have to have these things. You could hop on Glay. It doesn't matter what reactor you're using as long as it has the correct substats, and it's fine. So he's basically saying like comparatively to back in the day, which kind of doesn't make sense because we still had Glay back in the day, right? But basically he was saying that Lepic took a lot more, like you had to get a lot more things done to get that power, whereas now that power is just given to you with the character, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that's what he's saying.
just using it for cooldown and duration, and your components don't matter either. You don't even need full sets. Like it doesn't even matter what you run anymore. And now there's clips of people just running the new sniper and just one-shotting bosses with minimal investment. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, every time we get new content and they know that certain stuff's too strong and they say, hey, we know it's too strong, so we'll nerf it soon. Like, Ness is getting nerfed next month. Why do they keep adding stuff that just bulldozers the game? And, let's just talk about everything that we're playing in this new season. With this update, you're playing the Sigma. Everyone knows that the Sigma is the best for getting your tuning board leveled up. It's if you have a booster with the tickets you can buy from the vendor, or you can actually buy them out of the shop. You can purchase with Caliber. You can buy the 30% booster for your tuning board and stack it with the 15% that the vendor sells. The game just
Yeah, apparently that's a thing. You can like just stack the booster, which I haven't bought in boost or anything like that. I've just been leveling the arcade tuning normally. Apparently you can get it done really fast because the one from the shop and then the one from the Reyna, they stack together, so you're getting like almost what is it, like 50, I don't know how much it is, 50% more XP, so you can like max your arcade board and like, I don't know, really fast.
encourages you to do the Sigma game mode, and you can do the two difference. You can do it on your board. You can go in here and you can be like, hey, I want to do the broken boundary or the isolated desert. You have to do this on high risk and normal, depending on what part you're going for Serena, or you're going for the flamethrower, you're going for the sniper, you're going for all the new stuff. But when you're playing something that feels like less than a 400% dungeon, like it just gets steamrolled, and then you're just repetitively doing it over and over and over. And yes, it's not the best weapon XP, it's not the best character XP. There's other farms for that. You could still go do like Fortress Outskirts. It's the same loop. For me, I feel like that's another mistake. You're just doing something that, I'm running with pub groups and I'm doing them in 2.5 minutes, and you're just consistently running them and you're getting all these components. You get a lot of components when you finish, and you're just like, all right, I'm deleting most of this stuff, because if it isn't like double gold perked, or I don't need it, there's no reason of keeping it, right? When you add something new to the game, it should be worth it in the long run, in my opinion. Then you have your tuning board, and again, you don't even need this leveled up. You're already so strong in the game, you just don't need it. This is just more of for fun.
Yeah, I mean, he is right. It is more of like a for fun kind of thing. I personally love the tuning board. I love everything about it. It's basically Diablo Paragon, if any of you have played Diablo, but yeah, I'm a big fan. Um, really like the arcade tuning. I hope they expand upon that, and then in the future we get harder content to kind of like, you know, like you feel yourself getting more powerful, but also there's still stuff to challenge you kind of thing.
Hey, if you run a glass cannon build and you don't want to die, you can just spec your whole board into health so you don't feel squishy. That's cool. But when you add all the damage perks, dude, everything's just getting annihilated. And I understand people get so defensive in these videos. They're like, oh, streamer asking for nerf. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. The game is played fine. If it's so broken, don't use it. I mean, that is true. If you don't want to use a one-shot build and you don't want to use some broken build on bosses, then don't use it. But it's like, why would you just go into a pub group then, or go solo a boss? Let's just say you need to kill the boss 15 times. Like, why would you go in there and fight him for 3 minutes when you can kill him in 10 seconds? It's kind of
Yeah, I mean, that argument makes no sense to me. Like, purposely nerf your character because you don't like everybody being so OP, like nobody's gonna do that. Like if you can clear a boss in 3 seconds, people are gonna go to the build that clears the boss in 3 seconds. Nobody is gonna spend 8 minutes in a boss room using a really bad build over the 3 second build. People are always gonna be as optimal as possible. Or I guess, I mean, not all the time, right? If a build's really fun but it sucks, I'll still use it. But most of the time, if I need to farm something and I need to kill like the new boss 100 times to get whatever I want, I'm not going to use a crappy build to do it, right? I'm going to use like an OP build or at least like a mid-tier build. I definitely wouldn't just like hardcore nerf myself unless I'm doing it for a challenge. So, yeah, it's like fake content when people do that, essentially. Like, it's a dumb argument. Like, okay, oh, just don't use weapon cores or take off your mods or do this to make the game harder. It's like, well, the mechanics of the fight aren't changing. You're basically just lowering your damage to give the boss a bigger health pool, which isn't, that doesn't make it any more fun. Like, so yeah, people are going to go for the OP builds. That's just what it is.
just personal choice. Again, like, take a look at this clip. I mean, this is literally the one-shot sniper build. One shot in the air kills a boss. The way that the devs tell the community that, hey, we're understanding the player base and we're changing this and we're adding these changes, I don't see it. I see them just worrying about jiggle physics. I see them worrying about, who's got the next bikini. Like, cosmetics are cool, but like, enough's enough.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this, it is pretty insane when the hardest content in the game is getting one shot. I do think that is an issue because, like, yes, the goal in these types of games is to grind your character and then you feel extremely powerful, but they've made it super, like, well, I won't say super easy. They made it a lot easier than it is in the past to get to that kind of like power spike now. I don't think it's good for the game if you're able to just down the hardest content in the game with one click of your mouse, or whatever, right? I think there definitely needs to, at the very least, you could have like separate modes, for people who don't want to fight the hard content, and then have like, they need to add something more, like a Nightmare Plus mode or something. The problem is that when they release bosses that are that people have a hard time clearing, the community cries about it, says it's too hard, and then the devs have to nerf it. Pretty much happens every time. So they probably are releasing these new bosses and they're being very cautious. Um, yeah, I mean that's probably what it is. I feel for the devs because people are going to cry no matter what. If it's too easy, people are going to say they want challenge, and if it's too hard, people are going to cry it's too hard and they can't do it. So Yeah, I mean they have to find a middle balance, man. That's just is what it is. I feel for the devs though, for sure, because I feel like they're never gonna make everyone happy, and that's the thing. You should not try to make everything happy. A game for everyone is a game for no one. So yeah, you got to figure out who you want to cater to. Do you want to cater to a casual player base where there's no challenge in the game, or do you want to have it in the middle where it's like it's a little bit of challenge, and or do you want to cater to the hardcore players where it's like Dark Souls, whatever, right? Like you got to figure it out. Like you can't keep going back and forth, back and forth. You got to decide who do you want to cater to. Because trying to cater to both is just not going to work, right? I mean, it can, but you have to have like a mixture of each, right? Everything can't just be like one shot fiesta. Right now, it seems like they're just purely catering to the casuals, which, as I said, for me, it's whatever, right? I'm a lot more casual than I used to be now with the game, so it is what it is, right? But I definitely understand wanting more challenge in TFD. I definitely do. Uh, but that being said, if the majority of the community doesn't feel that way, then I'm just kind of gonna accept it for what it is, right? If TFD is just supposed to be a very casual game now, then I will play it casually. If they make it to where it is harder and it requires more of a grind, I will be a sweat again. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Was blessed to be one of the creators that got to meet with the devs, and I had that interview and I posted that video, and I asked for harder content, and I asked for a reason to grind, and I asked for all, you know, the end game to be polished better. And again,
Yep.
we know that we're not going to
It's
see
not
any
really
of
an
that
end
right
game.
away. I don't think end game
There's
in this game
literally
will be
not.
touched until June or July. I mean, season 3, whenever that launches, there's a chance. The way that they're going, I don't think so. I think that they really want to keep their game. They said this in an interview with me. They said they want to keep it where you collect everything. We want the player base to want to collect all the characters and all the guns. That's cool and all, but there's just no purpose to do that in the state of the game right now.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
You're not farming reactors. You're not farming components. You're still running the Slayer set. You're still running the Annihilation, you know. Void Vessel's cool to unlock the dog, but that's it. Like, you know, there's no reason to keep improving your builds if there's just really broken stuff in the game. Like, why can't you just go enjoy playing on your Ajax and your Eugen and play these off meta characters? You can.
Yeah, you can do that. But you know, as like a new player, right, coming in, you're probably gonna want to get like the really good characters first, right? So if you see that like Serena, Inez, Freyna, Glay, right, you're probably not as a newer player and you're just wanting to progress the content, you're probably gonna go for those characters first, right? You're either gonna swipe for it or like whatever, right? There's really no reason to play all of the other characters. You can essentially clear the entire game just by having one bosser and one farmer, and Serena does both like really good now, right? So literally you could just go unlock Serena and clear the entire game, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, as I said, I think he's making a lot of good points, but yeah, I mean, I don't think TFD is the target audience is not the sweats anymore. I mean, that's just the reality. I think it's just they're targeting casuals instead because there's more casuals than there are sweats, at least as it is right now. If they release season 3 and there's a lot of hard content, it might bring some people back. Because, you know, depending how they do it, if they release like raids and all that stuff. But you know, because they said we were getting mega dungeons, and I don't know about you guys, I never saw a mega dungeon. So I mean, unless Void Vessel was supposed to be mega dungeon, but yeah, I don't know.
But what's the point if everything you're grinding for isn't really a grind anymore? What I mean by that is, dude, when the game first came out and we were in season 1 and even leading up to season 2, like, you had to grind and you had to go get these parts for your ultimate descendants, and you had to grind for certain weapons, and you were
Yeah, he's having nostalgia about old TFD, which I totally understand because I do miss old TFD. I do miss it being like a huge grind fest. But it's just not anymore, bro. Like you're living in nostalgia land, brother. This is not the same TFD that was on release. And to be fair, there was a lot of things that were bad with TFD on release. A lot of really bad. Like you would have to like reset the outpost to not wait 5 minutes for the timer. Um, Void fragment farming was terrible. Uh, there was a lot of bad things, but that being said, I think they've made it way too easy now. Like in my opinion. As I said, I'm a casual player now, but they've made unlocking everything just too easy, bro. Like that's just my opinion on it. You might disagree with me on that, but you can unlock a character and fully max them all within a day. I think that's not good for the game in my opinion, but I might be in the minority and that's totally fine. If people want to fully max their characters in a couple hours, and just be super OP with zero time investment, that's cool. Like it doesn't matter to me. I'm still gonna play in whatever direction the devs want to go. I'll still play the game, right? Unless it just becomes like super boring. I'm just of the opinion that I think Clyde needs to accept the fact that I'm pretty sure, unless I'm just mistaken, but we are in the minority. People, and I have a job too because I know this is going to get thrown in my face because it gets thrown in my face every time. But they're like, content creators play 16 hours a day. You guys do this for a living. Like I do not, right? Like I have 6K subs. I am not making a living off YouTube. Um, so I just play in my free time. That being said, I do not have kids or a wife. So, maybe those guys, um, you know, they're only getting a few hours to play per week. They probably like this system better, right? With TFD being a lot more casual, they probably like this system. Whereas the sweats of the game, they want to just be able to like grind, make good content on the game, teach you how to beat really hard bosses, figure out the best builds in the game. And that seems to be the problem that like these content creators are going through right now. They want it to be more like old TFD and it's just not. Like we're just not. It just isn't. Like it's a lot more casual, man. You just got to face the facts, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you would like the game to be. But me, it's whatever, bro. I don't. It is what it is to me.
You were grinding for reactors and you were trying to make your Haley builds like do crazy buku damage. The problem is that we're not really in that no more. It's just, hey, why use this when I can use this? Why grind for this when I can just totally ignore all that and then just go free farm the boss? And that's okay. You want to go pub stomp a boss and kill him in 3 seconds? Go for it. You want to go do Death Stalker, which was the last hardest boss in the game, and just go farm him now because you can run broken builds? That's okay. But if you just look at the repetition of what you're doing, everything now is just getting steamrolled. So people aren't going to care about putting cores on their weapons anymore. Like doing 30s now is a joke. Like people are out here soloing stage 30 void erosion purges. Now, not everyone might have a build that can solo it. So you're just running with pubs and it's going very easily. All you're doing is playing into RNG now to see how many cores you can get to build. Some people hand in 50 cores and they don't get the perk they want. That's totally understandable. That's the RNG of the game and that's the grind of the game to keep you playing. But when there's no purpose to do it anymore, when there's no purpose to even maximize your loadout that strong, because you're not, you're still smashing bosses and dungeons with smithereens, but with Last Dagger being how strong it is now and the new sniper being able to one-shot, people are just gunning in on those 2 weapons. Like, hey, I'm going to use those 2 weapons. Those are going to be my meta weapons for builds. And then, you know what? I'll mess around with other stuff. So it's like you're having to put debuffs on yourself to play the game at a normal pace, if that makes sense. Because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to just create a new account and play as someone?
You just got to enjoy the game for what it is, bro. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, it just is what it is. Now, if enough people dislike being this overpowered and they dislike, these bosses just being one-shottable, the devs might change it, but I don't see it happening, bro. Anytime we get hard content, they end up nerfing it. Void Erosion Purge just got nerfed again today. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen unless we get a huge surge of just like new players that want to challenge or something. I don't see it happening because the devs have already tried to release hard content and they're consistently nerfing it while releasing more powerful characters. So it just makes the game easier and easier. I don't think it'll happen.
and would play 3 to 4 hours a week, I totally would do that for like a challenge, but there's no point to do it because you're just going to go to one build that's like, well, Clyde, don't use that build. You should make a whole new account and play on an off-meta character with off-meta weapons. That doesn't sound fun, because then I'm just waiting to match with people that have the broken stuff on. I just want people to understand that you have to be realistic here. You always can't be the white knight. You always can't be the hero. Sometimes it's okay to criticize the game. Everybody just wants all the YouTubers and all the streamers to praise the game. I love this game. I play it all the time. Anytime there's new content, I'll cover it. But if you just keep bringing stuff like this to where it gets pub stomped in the first day, it's not fun. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, but someone has to speak up and say, hey, it's not cool, because all we're going to do is sit here and praise it. I love First Descendant. I love the devs. They've taken care of me. They've blessed me with an interview. I've done sponsorships for them. I like Nexon, but again, change has to come. Make your end game a 3rd difficulty. We've been praying for a harder difficulty in the game, that if the top grinders want to grind, they can. But putting
Nightmare Plus mode, please, devs.
Leaderboards in the game just to add difficulty with one-shot builds, that's just not end game. Repetitive, same old stuff, that's not end game. Doing 2.5 minutes just to level up a Paragon board for each character, that's not end game.
Okay, so it does not take me 2.5 minutes to fully level my arcade tuning, but I don't buy boosts, so maybe that really does make like an insane amount of difference, right? If you buy both the boosts, or get both the boosts, and then you do the daily, which gives you like 54,000 on top of 1,500, which is 5,500, and then you get like, if it's 50%, you get like 8,000 XP in one run. That's 16,000 XP a day. I guess I could see it. Yeah, you could probably max it like really quickly, but I haven't done that. I've been just spamming it, I guess.
But hey, jiggle physics and swimsuits, that's microtransactions. Like I said, still gonna play the game.
Yeah, I mean, it is though. Like, I know he's saying it like jokingly, but actually, I mean, those things need to be in the game to make revenue. Like, you guys know me, dude. I'm Gooner, so, you know, it is what it is. I like the bikini. I still haven't bought them yet, just because I feel like it's too much money for me to justify buying the bundle, right? But I don't know, maybe I'll eventually get it.
Game, still gonna grind it. When new content comes out, I'm always gonna be grinding it, but for right now, until the devs address anything, it's gonna be stale. People have to understand that. If you're having fun, keep grinding. I'm not trying to offend anybody in this video, but again, had to get the words out. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, so I mean, like, Clyde had a lot of very good takes, I feel like. I mean, some people might not agree with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just your preference on how you want the game to be, how hard you want the game to be. You know, a lot of people think it's just gotten like kind of boring and too easy. I'm in the camp of, I've been enjoying episode 2, but I definitely understand where these guys are coming from. The game has become easier and easier pretty much every day since launch. So I get it, but it's something that I kind of came to terms with a long time ago when I stopped grinding for 10 hours a day, and I started playing it like a lot more casually. It's not as big of a deal, right? So yeah, at the end of the day, time will tell whether the devs like try to address this, you know, because they definitely do, I feel like, need to add like better content. But that being said, I'm not going to hold them to it until like season 3. We'll have to wait and see what season 3 looks like. So far, I thought the story was good. I like the arcade tuning. I think Serena's a lot of fun. That's my opinion on it. Is she OP? Yes, but so is a lot of other characters. Should the last boss be one-shottable? No. That's pretty much my opinion. Y'all are welcome to have yours, as always. Like, everybody's gonna have a different opinion about the game, and that's fine. But anyways, guys, I'm Samuxplays. Thanks for watching. Just wanted to, I guess, cover the drama and give my thoughts on it and all that good stuff. So y'all have a good one. Let me know down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you like TFD the way it is? You know, let me know. I will see you guys around in Albion. Peace.